Hey Solanki, welcome to your replay analysis. Today we're going to be looking at three aspects of your gameplay that I thought were a little bit inconsistent in the two replays that you've sent me or sent into the Discord channel. It was a little bit difficult to analyze those replays because there weren't particularly any aspects that I thought were too far behind in general to your overall skill level, but rather certain aspects of your gameplay that were inconsistent compared to the other game that I've watched or the other replay. And the points we're going to be talking about are positioning on defense. There's a couple of examples in one game where you did a great job, and others where in the different game, in the other game, where you could use a little bit of improvement. Another aspect will be your possession in the midfield, especially giving away the possession a lot. That is particularly frequent in one game, whereas in the other game it is mostly your challenges, especially as a last man, that will come into play. So we're going to be looking at these three aspects today. So let's get into the game. Okay, here we are. You find yourself trying to get an attack rolling, but you don't have the boost to finish it off, so you get back on defense and the opponents are countering, and you find yourself stuck on front post here, and it's extremely awkward for you. You try to get away, but not in time. You can't react to the shot, which ends up in a goal. What I need you to pay attention to here is quite simply something that you're actually very skilled with in other scenarios, that you actually apply in other scenarios, but it's pretty inconsistent, so I wanted to point it out. And that is your overall approach to the goal. Very often you'll find opponents rushing down into your half on the side wall, through the corner, towards your goal. But this isn't necessarily a threat, right? Most players try to get to, especially after grabbing this boost, try to challenge immediately, and then they're in an awkward position, and the ball is probably gonna bounce somewhere middle because the opponent is challenging from here, the defender is challenging from here, and then the ball bounces middle very awkwardly. So it never ends well, right? So what I want you to pay attention to more is, rather than going in like this, is to take a bit of a wider turn right in front of net, and then use this boost pad here as sort of a positioning marker, hit it, and then you're in a much better position to defend the goal. You have, in these scenarios where the opponent's rushing down through your corner, you usually have a lot more time than you think. Very often there is not a goal happening right from here. The goal is happening because people overcommit in the corner, and then the ball bounces middle without it being challenged. So if you come in from here and you go for the 50, you're essentially blocking the way into the middle. And that's what you really need to do. Play it out patiently. You have time. Of course, you don't know that your opponent right here has zero boost. But even if he had boost, your opponent's probably going to rush through the corner as well. They're not going to have the best control. And if you are in this position, which you are at times, you can defend it quite easily. And I'm going to show you another example where you did that mistake, and then I'm going to show you some examples where you did a great job, so you can see how you can actually do it in game. Okay, we're going to start right off kickoff. You guys have just seen it right off the bat. This is the second game, let me remind you, and you're going to be starting on defense right away with the zero boost, which is a pretty awkward position to be in. So right here you have time, but you awkwardly drive backwards into your front post corner and see how awkward you are. At no point are you in total control of what you do, and you're lucky that your opponent is giving away this ball so easily and doesn't shoot it on target. Right here, you could have just seen that your teammate has the time, has control of the ball, and can just touch it, boom it away, do whatever. And you have the time to turn around and get comfortable again. But right here, you rush a bit too much. Maybe you try to drive backwards into the back corner boost. I'm not too sure. But even if it wasn't there, just chill out a little bit, because your teammate is pushing this ball into the corner. Your opponent, even if he was there, wouldn't be able to score right off the bat. Unless, obviously, he was standing right there at the wall, being ready to shoot it, which rarely ever happens. So you have the time here to turn around, take your time, get into position, and then defend again. Trust yourself. You will manage these situations. quite easily, as you do in these following examples, where you do a really good job at just waiting, let the opponents overcommit in your corner, and then just transitioning into offense. So here we are. This is an example where I think you do a great job. See here, you rotate into net through the middle, and they're overcommitting, and you have a free boom. This could have even been a goal, but I'm not going to blame you for not scoring this. This isn't particular criticizing your shooting ability. I think your ball hits in general are just fine. You get a lot of power on most of your touches, which is really good. But you get out of defense, which is already an accomplishment, right? It is already an advantage. See how they overcommit, and you have a free ball. Even if they had a last man ready, this boom would have gone over them and could have potentially ended up in a goal. So this right here is a really good play because you rotated through the middle right here. Now, you might have watched the back post rotation video on the Next Rank YouTube channel from Jack and Johnny, and they were often saying that you shouldn't be rotating back post all the time, which is true. I would definitely sign that any day of the week. But in this scenario right here, why I want you to stay somewhat middle-ish is because your teammate is already on the front post side of the field. If your teammate was, let's say, right over here, and you had the chance of right here cutting into the play and getting the ball, you could have definitely done that and maybe get a demo or something, force the play out, don't give them time. But this right here is the best play because your teammate is already in a position where he can challenge for you. That's why it's actually good for you to rotate back post. Plus, you're not super far in the back. If you are all the way back here, then I would always want you to get this demo right here and help out your teammate. But because you're on a similar height, it wouldn't really make sense for you to turn upfield here and do anything. Let your teammate do the challenge because your opponent is just driving into your corner, overcommitting, doing absolutely nothing, giving you the ball for free. So this right here, very good play from you. This is the next example where I think you do a really good job. You could take this right off the bat, but you take a bit of a wider turn and thus getting a really good challenge. This is really well done from you, getting the right angle. Even if he hits the ball before you, you can get a very good 50 still into the corner, but you even get the beat, so it's even better. But this overall, really good rotation from you. Obviously, you need to apply this rotation relative to your opponent. If your opponent has a free shot on target, you should intercept that shot as fast as possible, obviously. But if you have the time, like you do in this play, you know that your opponent isn't on the ball straight away, you can take your time and do a bit of a wider turn and then challenge. This is really good right here. So I really need you to invest more time and effort into applying this type of decision making and challenging more consistently, because it will help you a lot against opponents on your level, because opponents on your level are usually gonna give the ball away quite often, especially in your corner. So you will be able to intercept a lot of the opponent's attacks and get back out of defense into offense. All right, let's talk about possession game, giving away possession of the play. This right here is your promotion game, so I can understand that you might have been a little bit nervous here, but this right here is a free ball. You panic the ball away and give away a potential threatening offense, and the opponent can now take control, get out of defense and box you into your corner. So this right here is just you needing to read the opponent. Can you outplay them? Can you take your time? I don't really need you to be able to recognize whether or not opponents have much boost or very few boost or zero. That's pretty high level, and I don't really need you to learn that as of now. But what I want you to focus on is the opponent facing away from me? Or can he turn and challenge me in time? Because it doesn't matter if he has boost or not. If he's facing away from you, you can outplay anyone with, doesn't matter how much boost he has. Okay, even if Valid right there in the purple octane had 100 boost, if you took your time and just touched it behind him, you would have remained in control and there would have been nothing that he could do. Okay, so right here, take your time. You could have flicked under the ball, You could have 50-50'd the ball, buy time for your teammate. There's a lot of options that you can have, but overall this is a huge giveaway here of a potentially big chance, because your teammate also has very high boost, so he can follow up essentially anything that you're putting him up against. But because you give it away, your opponents have possession and they take it out of defense pretty comfortably. Let's get into another example of this possession play. Alright, we managed to barely escape out of defense, and this ball bounces awkwardly up top, and you wait for the ball to come down, which is fine. And at least I would assume you're getting faked by Curry right here, and this comes down to a little bit of reaction time and speed, recognizing right here that you have time. You don't need to take control or dribble the ball right off the bat. Your opponent just overcommitted pretty hard, so you can let it bounce once or twice as well, because the other opponent is all the way in the back, so you have a lot of space to work with. You can dribble this, you can just touch it forward and push it downfield just to gain some territory without trying to score right off the bat. This all is fine, but because of the panic and because of the maybe getting faked aspect, you're giving away that possession, but your teammate is taking control of the ball, outplaying the opponent. And this is how powerful taking control of the ball, especially in the midfield in twos, is so vital. Because if you take time, you will get into a lot of 1v1 situations against your opponent. More often than you actually think, because at your level, most first mans of your opponent will be overcommitted. This is very often the case. So you will have a lot of situations where you can take time off the ball and you have a 1v1 against your opponent, like here. You're not capable of capitalizing off of it, which is not too bad. This is what this is for, you know, practicing, learning, recognizing, identifying those scenarios. But you can score on off that scenario anyways. But still try to get some effort into recognizing whether or not you have time, especially in the midfield. You're doing a decently fine job on defense and on offense when you need to challenge and when you need to, you know, just go back. I think you're pretty good at that. But in the midfield, on these dead balls that are just bouncing around, not really having any momentum towards either side, you struggle a little bit to organize yourself and making the right decisions. Let's finish off this video with the last point, which is challenging as a third man or being too far away as a, or not third man, last man, or being too far away as a last man. Okay, we are into overtime, so overall I can understand that you might have been a bit nervous here, a bit more careful, but this right here is a situation where you are way too hesitant of challenging this ball. Like your first man here, you have a second man right behind you to clear off anything that comes towards net, which is the case right here. But you need to make a decision here. If you don't want to challenge, that's fine, then don't challenge. But what you do right here is you wait, but then you still challenge even though you're beaten. If you want to challenge this ball, or if you're not sure what you want to do with this ball, if you, let's say you are not sure whether or not you have the time to challenge, here's an easy trick you can do. And this trick particularly applies if you have a teammate behind you. If you're last man, this might work a little bit differently, but right now you're just turning into a first man. So you can rush towards the play and then just wait for the opponent. Let them play it out. Right here, if you challenge the ball from here, you have no chance of succeeding in anything because the ball will just bounce off into the middle and your opponent has a free ball. What I want you to do is get close and let him overcommit. And if he takes control, you can still challenge him or backflip into the play, whatever it is, right? Face sideways, face slightly away, force him out, but driving around like this and then drawing like snake lines and then challenging, that's just way too late. You're way too far away from the play as a last man here, and then you're getting even further away as a first man, which then makes this challenge very uncomfortable for you. If you find yourself in that position of being too far away for whatever reason, then just don't overcommit, okay? You don't want to leave your teammate behind alone. So if in this position, you're coming from right here, get close to the play, force him out, and then just drive back. No reason to flip into the play, no reason to try to win the ball, because you're probably getting beaten. He has full boost, he has full control. He can boom the ball out of defense, which he does. So you need to respect him a bit more. So now let's get into the last aspect of this video, when we finish off with the last example for challenging. All right, we're closing out the overtime, just about to at least, and you're about to challenge here as well, but you're a bit far behind. To be fair, you're on low boost, so I can understand why you're a bit further behind. You don't want to risk too much. That is not too much the issue. I mean, you could have been closer here and challenge it early, but you also want to play it safe, so I can understand that. Let's work with this. So you're in this position, you grab 2 or 3 pads, but again, you're not respecting the opponent in his possession, and you're just challenging, and he beats you quite easily. For this scenario as well, it would have been quite advantageous to drive straight towards the opponent, force him out, and then fake challenge towards the middle. This would first of all force the opponent to give away the ball, which your teammate then can pick up. It also helps you collect these 2 boost pads, but it also helps you get into that back rotation that we talked about early on in this video, getting straight towards net. And from here you can then challenge the corner if your opponent is pushing in right here. Let's say they win the 50 against your teammate and he's pushing towards goal. You can then just challenge him quite easily from here. So if you had a little bit more boost, maybe you could have done a bit more here because you would have been a little bit faster. But you're pretty far away from the play if you look at this. And he's a quite easy beat. So drive towards him, fake challenge, and then drive away. Obviously, if he doesn't buy your fake, if he doesn't fall for it and takes possession, then don't just drive away. You can then fake challenge and just stay here. And then if he takes control, tries to dribble it, you can still turn and challenge him. But if he pushes it down to the corner and falls for your fake, just rotate back like this, like we talked about in the beginning of this video. Okay, that's it for today's replay analysis for you. Again, it was a bit difficult for me to analyze this replay because there were a lot of inconsistencies in between those replays. So I would highly recommend you to fix those inconsistencies before anything else, before going into, I don't know, aerial practice or anything. Fix those basic mistakes, get more consistent with them, and you're going to be given a lot more chances to win games because you take possession more, because you challenge a lot better, because you position yourself a lot better on defense. If you got any questions, feel free to ask me on Discord or in the comments. I'm always happy to help and help you rank up to the next rank. And now, good luck with your practice. Good luck ranking up.